college campuses. I mean, this is not just about the political fight of the day. The fight is for the future of the country. The fight is for the future of the West. And the left right now, all these people who are trying to tear down America and tear down the West inhabit the left, and they largely inhabit the Democratic Party. Whether you like it or not, that's where those people's political home is right now. And until they get rid of it, they're going to have a real problem.
What's happening, everybody? Welcome to yesterday's news channel, where we watch crappy liberal podcasts so you don't have to. Scott Jennings spread his wings and left the confines of Castle Grayskull, known to most as CNN. Okay, guys, I am insanely sweaty right now. I'm staying at my parents' place in Indiana, and it's so hot in this room that's why I'm glistening. I'm not nervous. I'm just extremely, extremely hot. Mom and Dad, I love you. I'm not blaming you, but it's hot. Scott Jennings joined Tara Palmieri on her podcast. The two covered multiple topics throughout the interview, but in this clip, they discuss political violence from the right versus the left and whether one party engages in it more than the other. As you can imagine, this was a layup for Scott Jennings. Anyway, let's watch Scott Jennings do his best to help Tara Palmieri understand the massive disparity in acts of violence between the two parties. Let's go.
So my second piece of advice would be to dump the anti-Semitic left. And my third piece of advice would be get rid of these violent tendencies, like this manifestation of anger and firebombing Tesla dealerships. And
oh, come on. January 6th. Okay, wait. Hold the phone. You cannot say it is just, like, you can't just say it's the left that is violent. We had an insurrection at the Capitol.
You had one bad day. And what is going on the left right now?
Hey,
vandalism.
Scott,
Luigi
you called it an
Mangione,
insurrection
worship,
perpetrated by the president.
Unbelievable. I mean, and the adherence to trying to keep these violent, illegal aliens in the country. The left has a problem with violence. It is in its heart right now.
I don't think it is only the left. I mean, you have literally seen people on both sides committing violence. I think that the problem is not the left. I think it is the extremes on both sides of the party. And that is what's happening. Like, they're the loudest voices, whether the leaders want them or not. And they're the ones who tend to be the most violent. I don't think that's fair to say it's only the left. I mean,
but why is it happening? Why do late night comedians go on TV and encourage or coddle or give lip service to this vandalism of what went on with Tesla dealerships and so on? Why are there so many prominent people?
People didn't
like,
get hurt.
I totally get why
Luigi Mangione died on January 6th.
Why? I don't understand.
Listen, I'm not for vandalism, but like,
it's more than that. They firebomb these things. Like it's obviously
dangerous, but it's happening on both sides. It's not just one.
What person on the right is committing violence today?
Oh my gosh. Well, first of all, when you're in power, you don't tend to be the ones that are doing that. But I think after they lost the election in 2020, there was a mob and a person died, and it was a riot at the Capitol. It was crazy.
It was a terrible day, and it should not have happened.
It was a horrible day.
And let me just check my calendar, and it was 5.5 years ago.
Can we also talk about the fact that someone broke into Nancy Pelosi's house and violently beat up her husband?
You're saying that homeless drug addict is a conservative?
Well, I mean, why do you think she was targeted?
Why do I think a literal crazy homeless person in San Francisco did something? I couldn't begin to tell you, but I know it's this. They weren't coming to the Republican Party. People on both sides
have faced assassination attempts. This is a thing that is not just, it's not just a singular party thing. And I don't buy that. Like, it's not a singular party thing. Mm-hmm. There are radicals on the left and there are radicals on the right. There is radicalism. And people choose what they want to believe, and they believe it so much that they want to hurt people. I mean, you see it all the time.
I think you are discounting the very obvious evidence that this radicalism on the left is more than radicalism. It's anti-Americanism. It's anti-Western civilization. I mean, just look at the coddling and the encouragement of what's going on these college campuses. I mean, this is not just about the political fight of the day. The fight is for the future of the country. The fight is for the future of the West. And the left right now, all these people who are trying to tear down America and tear down the West inhabit the left, and they largely inhabit the Democratic Party. Whether you like it or not, that's where those people's political home is right now. And until they get rid of it, they're going to have a real problem. And I think the country is onto it. I mean, these campuses and what's going on around the October the 7th issue and what's going on around anti-Semitism in this country, it's crazy. I mean, look at this guy that just killed these 2 people in Washington, D.C. Where do you reckon that guy came from? Oh, he came from one of these socialist progressive organizations. That's where he came from. His dad was a member of Congress guest at the president's speech in March. I mean, they have violence in their heart, and they need to get rid of it, is my view.
There's listen, I'm not going to say that there's not violence on both sides. We've seen members of Congress be attacked from both sides. But I do want to say this.
It is so freaking hot right now. Do you notice? I mean, I'm not even wiping my forehead anymore. It's like I just got out of the shower. It just comes right back. Let me try to remember. How many examples of right-wing violence could Tara name after they spent 4 minutes on it? January 6th, the worst day in the history of the world. That's all they have. That's it. I don't understand how she doesn't understand. But then I want to say she does. Because then when Scott said, who on the right is acting violently right now, she goes, oh, and leans back in her chair. Because she knows that question is a dead end for her. Then, because she has no response to Scott's question, she says, well, the party that's in power doesn't typically engage in violence. But since that's the case, then Biden must be the exception, right? Because during his term, we saw the Atlanta Cop City riots, Antifa attacks, pro-abortion fire bombings, and left-wing assaults at school board meetings. That's all under a Democrat president. So they're in power, and still the violence persists. So sure, Tara, violence usually comes from the side not in power. But under Biden, the far left has been very comfortable getting violent, and not to mention getting a pass for it. Back to it.
Covered Europe, okay? There are a number of parties in each parliament, right? You've got they even have Nazi parties, actually still have Nazi parties, okay? And they've got parties on the left. They even have a pirate party. I remember covering that in the European Parliament. There are extreme people, and they go into these parties, right? And there are multiple parties. I wonder if there was a MAGA party, a Republican party, a Democratic party, and then a far left party. I mean, would that make more sense to reflect our political time? Because I think it does. I don't think that everyone, I think that people are much more nuanced than I don't think they just take, I think to win a Republican primary, I think for someone who might be interested in the Senate in Kentucky, you'd have to run all the way to the left in the MAGA party. I mean, to the right, in the MAGA party. But to actually talk to people, I think most people are probably more towards the center, but to their party, either center right or center left.
Yeah, I mean, look, I think there is a broad...
I don't think they're extremists that feel hate. I don't like to think of that. Most people are like that. I don't think they are.
I think there's a broad middle of the country that considers itself to be center right or center left. But I think if you're just looking at inside the two parties, look, I don't think there are two Republican parties. I think there is the Republican Party, and Donald Trump's the head of the Republican Party, and it has largely taken on his ideology. That doesn't mean that there still isn't some of the old Reagan-era DNA and that there aren't debates inside the party. But there's no question that he's the head of the party, and his platform is the platform. But they're afraid of him.
That's why he's head of the party. They're afraid to say you can't take this jet from Qatar. They're afraid to say you can't have a crypto coin that you made $320 million from. That Republican Party, the Lisa Murkowski, she'll say something, but there are a lot more of her out there, and they're just afraid. Even Rand Paul, Ron Johnson, these are fiscal conservatives. Trump's not a fiscal conservative. He's a MAGA Republican. They don't care about spending.
Well, Rand Paul doesn't seem afraid to me. I mean, he's been basically the leader of the anti-tariff movement, and he's been the leader of the idea that Congress ought to have a role in that. I mean, I actually don't think people are as afraid to speak out as you think. I mean, you do see it happen. It doesn't mean they always win, and it doesn't mean that most Republicans aren't with Trump, but you do see people speak out from time to time.
So you see what she's doing there, not so subtly, right? She's trying to equate MAGA with the extreme left. Here's an important difference between the parties that perhaps she just doesn't recognize. See, the Democrats are so desperate for voters that they embrace their radicals. They can't lose anybody else, so they embrace these crazies. You see Democrats embrace every far left nonsensical group, and they have to pander to them and pretend to echo their worthless message. And then they set themselves up to be scrutinized for stating the beliefs of a group of 112 mentally ill voters, but then they can't look weak or admit that they're wrong, so they have to double down on this crap they didn't even want to deal with in the first place. And finally, they lecture all of us on how bigoted we are. If a Republican is in the same airport as like a white supremacist, they'll say he spends time with white supremacists. Even though 100% of Republicans say, I don't condone anything they do, I don't share their beliefs, I don't associate with them. Can you imagine if the Republican Party actually embraced our radicals the way the left does? The Republicans would be lecturing everyone that white supremacy, it's not that bad, and that they're being intolerant for not accepting a hateful life choice. What I just described sounds effing bonkers, but the crazy thing is, you're witnessing it in real time on the left. They are embracing folks in their party that are the crazy equivalent to white supremacists in the Republican Party. It just reinforces what a sick, power-hungry, depraved bunch of lunatics they are. I mean, we all know that, but as I'm describing this to you, I'm in awe of how crazy it is when you look at it from that perspective. Lastly, her suggestion about far left, right, and MAGA makes absolutely no sense. MAGA is the majority of the Republican Party. To act as if MAGA is extreme right by putting it opposite extreme left misses the mark so badly. I've never even described myself as MAGA, but if loving your country, following God's word, wanting to preserve the rights given to us by the founding fathers, wanting to secure borders, and caring about the truth makes me MAGA, cool, I'm MAGA. But to me, everything I just listed is the reason the vast majority of us choose this side. That's what unifies us, and we don't need two parties. We don't need to be split. We're not like you in the freak show you pander to every minute of your sad lives. So let me say this one more time for the cheap seats. We are nothing like you. But what did you think about Scott Jennings' appearance on Tara Palmieri's podcast? Let me know in the comments. Anyway, that's it for this video. If you're not aware, I currently have a channel goal of 20K subs by the end of June. If you're new here, I promise I don't ask all the time for like and subscribe and all that stuff. So I'm calling in a favor in June here, and I'm asking people to help me reach my goal of 20K subs. It's going to take a lot of work, but I genuinely believe that we can do it. So if you'd help me out, I'd really appreciate it. Otherwise, as always, I really, really appreciate you taking a couple minutes out of your day to watch my video. Never forget Jesus loves you. See you guys.